And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. Here we are with another special episode. I will not say a number for fear that I don't put it out when it's supposed to come out. I'll give you a little behind the scenes. The person I spoke to, they're having a split release more or less. And that's not industry lingo, but the first part is exclusive, and the second part is going to be available everywhere. And I think it'd just be better to put it out when it's available everywhere. So that means, if I'm correct, this should be in 2 episodes of C Plus Comedy, or of the Constitutionals, as opposed to now, which is 2 episodes back. So you'll know if you do the math. You know I'm recording this the same week 340 or after 343 came out. So it's either 345, 343, doesn't matter. 0.5, you know I do the whole 0.5 thing. Anyway, here we are. We have a special interview. That's a little behind the scenes of the long running portfolio, as I call it. Chilean comedian Fabrizio Copano. I also don't know if I do apologize if I'm mispronouncing it. Has his first English language special coming out July 14th or releasing everywhere on July 29th. As I said, it's an English language comedy special. He's already put out 2 other previous specials, I believe, in Spanish. He is I'm not kidding when I say this. And I know I say this about everybody. Go and watch his stand-up. He's a funny guy. He's very animated. He's been doing this for 20 years, apparently. And he started in Chile. And then, as you'll hear in our conversation, he moved to America. He made a good living in Chile, but he moved to America in order to expand his horizons when it comes to doing stand-up. And you can as comedians coming up now, you can pretty much do stand up or comedy or what your thing, music, if that's your thing, anywhere. But it was different 20 years ago, and hell, I'd probably say even 10 years ago it was a little bit different. You had to build a base, but this guy did it 20 years ago in Chile. Then he moved to America, and now he well, not now. when he moved to America, he had to start over more or less. And kind of work from there. But man, this guy's good. I like him. We talked about the people that have also inspired him: Eddie Murphy, Louis Black. He has a family. This guy's got a lot going for him. I think we're roughly the same age. I think he's only a couple years older than me. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here not doing anything. I'm in my pajamas watching golf. He's based in New York. He was the first South American to shoot an original comedy special for Netflix. He also appears at the Comedy Cellar a lot of times. You can see a lot of his clips on his YouTube channel. He co-wrote, I'm just now learning this, and starred in one of Chile's highest grossing comedies, Barrio Universitario. He's also appeared on Chilean comedy shows like El Club de la Comedia, which is like he's a late night host of El Late de Copano and the host of La Culpa es de Colon for Comedy Central Latin America. He's also appeared on The Late Late Show with James Corden. He was on Just for Laughs, 2022 New Faces. He was a part of CBS's 2025's Comics to Watch Showcase. I like this guy. He's hardworking, and he's just funny. He's just funny in the bones. You should check him out on his Instagram. at Fabrizio Comedian. He's on TikTok, Fabrizio Comedian. He's got a website, Fabrizio. Hold on, I clicked on it. FabrizioCopano.com. That has all the stuff. And as I said about this release, it is currently out exclusively on 800 Pound Gorilla Media. We love them. They're great people. You can buy it over there. It's a pay what you want type deal, starting at $10, going up as high as you want it to be. Support these comedians. Support 800 Pound Gorilla Media. Additionally, on July 29th, you'll be able to stream or buy the special wherever you get your comedy specials. He's a funny guy. I like 800 Pound Gorilla Media. We have no affiliation. Check out Fabrizio. I left the email where his thing was. Listen, if you want to see a video version of this interview, go to youtube.com/C plus comedy, where you can see me talk to Fabrizio. You can see me talk to a bunch of other funny, famous people. They're not all comedians, but you see me talk to them. And what else? If you want to see a video version of the main version of this podcast, The Constitutionals, which is the entertainment business news podcast, youtube.com/C plus comedy. We can also see a video version of the other podcasts. LinkedIn Logs, which is the Jobs podcast, and Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. Follow us on social media, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Instagram at C plus Comedy. Me, at Chad Black White. Now, tune in for the Chilean comedian, Fabrizio Copano.
Thank you for having me, man. I love the that tiger behind
The
you.
tiger. Yeah. I love it too. It's a great conversation starter. I found it at an antique store, and I made out with it $60. So I love it.
Cool. That's New York. Are you in New York? Yeah.
No, I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. So you can do that over there too.
Yeah. What about you? You're in New York, right?
I'm in New York, but right now I'm in Connecticut.
Well, okay. Are you touring?
No, I have like a kind of vacation house here, so I just needed a time off, so I just came here.
I get it. I understand. You have this big release coming up, so you might as well take a load off before you have to go out and do like the big promotions and everything for it.
Yes. Yes. But this is a good start.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting this together.
Yeah, this is like where you get your feet wet, where I ask very easy softball questions, and no one really pays attention, so it's always fantastic.
Great. That's the way to go.
Well, congratulations on this new record. I mean, this is the first English language one, right?
Yeah. I done a couple in Spanish, and I always wanted to do one in English, and yeah, this is the first one. Hopefully,
That very, very cool. I saw that even one of the Spanish ones was on Netflix. So that's a giant reach, to be able to put it on the biggest platform in the world.
we put that one in 2017. That was the first one I did, and yeah, I always wanted to be on Netflix, of course, but at the time there was no specials in Latin America.
Mhm.
So I just reached out to them, and I went from, I mean, one person to the other till we figure out a way to be the first one from South America to put a special. So yeah, I'm very proud of that accomplishment.
That's a very cool accomplishment. It's a very awesome thing to say, to say I'm the first one, and kind of cement yourself in history in that, in comedy history in that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know because we don't know what's going on with the world. So maybe like Netflix in 2 years will be the new blockbuster. But so far, yeah, it's great to be there, and I'm really proud of of that special. I mean, once again, it's like as a comic, it's hard to look back on your material and
Mhm.
you feel like, wow, I will write better jokes. But in that moment, I think it was what I have to do.
You're right. Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of that, I watched a bunch of your stand up in order to get ready for this, and the tricks of the trade are you are stand up, you're touring the same thing, you have the same 5 or 10 minutes, and over the course of like a year or something, you're doing these same jokes. So I watched a few clips where you're telling the same joke, and there's different iterations and different versions, and it's I've been doing this for a long time, so none of that bothers me. I've seen it 100,000 times, and but it's fascinating for me to see how somebody like you, a comedian, is able to just go with the crowd, play with them, even though you're doing the same thing again and again. It's kind of like music, you go to a concert and you see Bruce Springsteen or Shakira or Taylor Swift, and they've played those songs thousands upon thousands of times for hundreds of thousands of millions of minutes. It's just for you, what's that process like of having to tell those jokes in order to prep for the biggest thing, which is a new release?
Well, I really love the grinding of it. You know, I love the going from one club to the other in the same night, like something that you can do in New York that is like just one 15-minute spot and then another one, and then in the same night you tell the same joke, but then you're tweaking little things. You figure out like something about the cadence of the joke or something about a specific word that you can change it or the order of the joke, you know, like I love that. Like I have a lot of fun tweaking little things. It's like it make you feel like something like it's handmade, you know, like you're
Yeah.
just picking things here and there. And it's one of the most fun parts of the job. I feel that like what you're saying is like seeing the jokes evolve and be like, okay, this piece was like, I don't know, even like 30 seconds or less, and now it's like 2 minutes or 3 minutes,
Mhm.
or the same joke that used to have like this amount of laugh, then you tweak it and you figure it out till you make it like this kind of laugh. And it's not easy, you know, like because you have to be patient, you have to stick with some jokes that sometimes you feel they're not making the cut, but
Mhm.
it's once again, it's like when it works, it's kind of magic. It feels like, wow, I just like I figured out like this very complex math problem, and I found the other way. And the cool thing is like you never find like the full version of the joke. Like I feel sometimes like when you do a release like this, it's like, okay, these jokes have to be, I mean, they're gone, you know, like
Mhm.
they're released to the public. So that's it. But there's still jokes that even in the time between releasing and I mean taping and releasing, you see how they keep growing and you're like, damn
Right.
it, I will put it back in the special. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, you say that, and I think that makes me immediately think of a joke that you did on Corden, and you also did on The Cellar, as well as I think The Talk, about your wife being from Texas, and also Texas is racist, but also everybody there is an immigrant. Like that, like those iterations in particular, I see it kind of building, and it all works. It fits within that mold of what you just described.
Yeah, also I feel sometimes it's like it's writing, you know, it's like okay, this joke specifically like needs to be written this way, but then sometimes it's about like how you deliver 100%. So even like I feel sometimes because I've been doing this for a long time, it's like there's a curve with the joke. Like works, then you put too much effort, kind of like stop working or work less because you're overthinking about it. Then you go back to the older version and you add what you learn in that part
Mhm.
of the curve, and that's when the joke really take off, you know?
Yeah.
And I can see with those kind of jokes that like the delivery feels more natural, more organic, more real. People believe me more when I say the premise, so they're more invested for the punchline, and there could be little things that make that change.
What do you do when there's a joke that you love, but it's just not working? Do you keep working on it? And then at that point, at some point, when it doesn't work out, what's your process for getting rid of that? Or do you just try to work in little elements of that joke and other jokes? What's that for you?
Well, it depends. Some jokes, yeah, some jokes are I mean, some jokes died for different reasons. Some of them is because maybe they're not truthful enough,
Mhm.
and for those, you need like more an absurd setup, or like a part of the material where people are like so like invested in you, or like they're just into the show that they allow themselves to be more absurdist. Uh, but some of the jokes die because they're just not good,
Mhm.
and you can love the idea of them, but if people just don't connect, you have to be able to let it go. Sometimes I what I do is like, okay, I let go a joke. I'm like, okay, that's it. And then months later, I try it again. I put it in the mix with other jokes that worked, and I see again, okay, maybe it was me at the moment that I was not delivering it right. And yeah, sometimes the jokes survive or make a little bridge between one joke and another. But most of the times, you can tell not right away, but I mean, you can tell when you have when you strike gold right away. You like, okay, here's something that it can get better, but like here's a hook that you can tell people like. But with jokes, it doesn't work. It's retooling. Sometimes it's like making it even worse. So it depends, honestly, case by case.
Yeah. Yeah. I did my hand, I tried my hand at stand up years ago, but I'm not good at it. And so I do this, I talk to people about it. And it's just something that I feel like it's a muscle because when I'm watching a video of you at the cellar, you're able to do your jokes and be yourself, but you're a different person at the cellar than you are at on the talk, which by the way, I had no idea the talk did stand up. I had no clue. Like late night, it makes sense, but daytime stand up is a crazy, insane thing. But regardless, it's just it's funny watching you be exactly who you are, but you have to tone things down between those types of televised sets. Or I mean, for the seller in that case, it's an underground set.
Well, I like that. I don't know. Because the way I started in comedy. I mean, I started back in Chile, and in my country, there was like most of the things are televised. Like it's hard to become a name. Well, now it's different with social media, but
Yeah.
back in 2006, 2007, the only way was being on TV. So I know how to not change my essence, but still being able to go to different platforms.
Mhm.
And I enjoy that because I really enjoy like how you can make laugh people that have so different backgrounds than you and have different points of view. And I that's my favorite thing. That's why I'm in the US,
Yeah.
because I like to go to places where they don't know me and I have to win them over. And that means in a TV set that is like a very, as you were saying, like a daytime morning show. It's like it's insane. Like it's such a different audience,
Right.
and it like I don't know at 1 a.m. spot at the Comedy Cellar, but you still have to be present and
Mhm.
be there for them and just connect with them in a most sincere way. And I like that. I like to be able to do that.
What I liked most about the talk set was that those people, like the audience of a daytime or a morning talk show, they are there for, the hosts and whatever special guests are going to be there. And they typically aren't the same people who are going to be on watching, Colbert or Seth Meyers or Jimmy Kimmel or whomever in the evening time live. And it's fascinating to have them just laugh at your jokes because they were so game. They were ready. They were laughing as much as the people at the cellar or the people on James Corden. It was really good. When you mentioned Chile, was it you've done this? You started there and then coming to America. Was that like a tough transition? Was it like restarting? What was starting comedy in Chile like? How was that? Because I've never heard of that before.
Well, I mean, the thing in Chile, particularly, and maybe like all these countries in Latin America, is kind of like the stand-up scene show up kind of at the same time.
Mhm.
What happened is like we all have joke tellers, and in our countries, and there's very massive famous ones, and there's one actually in Chile that he was kind of making stand up, but he didn't have that name. So in the early thousands, Comedy Central showed up in Latin America.
Hmm.
There was like a boom of stand up, and we started doing shows in a little tango club in the second floor of a tango club, and we me and two friends. I was 16 at the time, so I mean I wasn't allowed to even be in that bar, but
Right.
I with my two friends, they're not very accomplished stand-up comedians in Chile. We just started doing this show every week, and that was part of the scene that then took over, and now it's huge. Now there's comedy clubs all over the country. You can tour. It's great. Like people love
Wow.
it. There's a whole scene. There's new names coming up every year. It's really nice. And the transition to the US was hard in terms of like my English was not ready. My
Hmm.
English was very basic when I moved, and I struggle with that for a moment. And then the cultural differences,
Yeah.
and also like the industry, because once again I started with there was no industry and we kind of built it up,
Right.
and here there's a whole industry that is so big and so uh, I mean developed, but at the same time it was changing with social media. It was kind of like just all the old things were getting out of the way, and there was this whole thing about clips and stuff. So
Hmm.
it was hard to like kind of hard to navigate having to like do the two changes at the same time.
Right.
Uh, because I mean, I'm a comedy nerd, so I always read all these books about like, okay, you have to do the Tonight Show, and from the Tonight Show, you're gonna do the Comedy Cellar, and the Comedy Cellar, you're gonna do this tour, and all those things are still important, but
Hmm.
like used to be life changing stuff, and now it's part of a process,
Yeah.
and there's other ways, like many other ways. Um, so yeah, I still do what I learned that I supposed to do, and I learned the new tools, but it's yes, it's an ongoing process. I think this transition, like this first special, is part of like okay, this is like an introduction letter for
Yeah.
me to the US, but I still part of like an ongoing process of learning how to navigate this new world.
Right. And I think you're making a very good transition now into this, I'll call it a third phase of your career. In that you, as you said, you're learning the new tools because I talk about this all the time, the TikToks, the Instagram, the Reels, the YouTube Shorts, all that stuff is either you're good at it or you're not. You can't go halfway. And I think that for somebody who has all these followers on Instagram, and you're doing the right thing and uploading clips there with captions, and also it's in English and it's in Spanish, and then you've also got some great YouTube coverage as well, and it's your people. It's very easy to find you. I watched an interview with you on a Chilean radio show. Did I understand anything? No, but I understood the cadence, and it all worked out. And I think that this you fit in well with this new world of comedy because you've seen where it was in its own transitional phase in the early 2000s when social media was suddenly becoming a thing and when televised comedy was a thing coming in Chile. So you're doing a good job. If you wanted that reinforcement, you're welcome.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, it's confusing for everyone, like because there's all these weird myths around the algorithm. It's like now that he likes small bits, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, now he likes long jokes. It's like, what is this? Like, it's impossible to navigate life in
Hmm.
that sense. But I think at the end of the day, if something connects, it will find his way.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to be outside and show your skills and try to like find the audience. It's not like you can just stay at home and wait for someone to come for you. But if you have the thing, and if you I think it could be a TikTok, it could be an interview, it could be like you don't know what it is, but
Hmm.
your energy will find his own path, and
Yeah.
I understand that it's frustrating for a lot of comics because it take a lot of brain space, and all that brain space used to be for jokes
Right.
and the energy and stuff. But I think we're just not the only ones. Like everyone. I mean, you see all these like dentists dancing on TikTok, telling you're like, why a lawyer have to be, like doing all these stories and it's just like this is the new world and we have to adapt and it's hard, but well, we need to keep going.
Right, yeah. This morning I was watching Good Morning America, and they did a story about a woman who used ChatGPT to pay off $23,000 in debt. And I just thought she should not be using anything. She
Yeah.
like not even a credit. That's insane.
Wow, it's once again, it's like we don't even know what's gonna be next,
Yeah.
and we're like, okay, well, now we have to post clips, but then tomorrow it's gonna be whatever. I mean,
Hmm.
it's coming from so many different places, like the next trend that you have to just ride the wave.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you good at chasing trends? I know you I know we just you spoke about brain space, but are you somebody that is if you're seeing beyond the short clips and the long clips, if you're seeing, somebody do crowd work or whatever in comedy, talk about something, is that something that you chase after as well, or are you good at just staying in your own space and doing your own thing?
My problem with chasing is that you're always behind, like
Mm,
you're always behind, and if you're when you're behind, it's always kind of lame. And I mean, we still have to think about ourselves like artists. I know it's
mhm.
hard because we're kind of like half marketing, half comedians, half trendsetters. Hey, it's just
Yeah.
like there's so many, but we are artists, and I mean, it's like as an artist, you have a vision of the world that you want to share, and that's yours. You can't just change it like because it's like, oh, now everyone wants this other thing. It's not gonna come. It's not gonna work because it's not
Right.
natural. It's not. Even if it works, it's gonna work for a short window of time because the true self is gonna show up. It's not gonna be um, authentic, and I think you have to stay in your line tweaking stuff. I'm not saying that you should like just, oh, this is me and I'm no, I mean, sometimes it's like, okay, I should post like longer clips or I should like I have crowd works that I like. I should share those that they come natural to me. But yeah, following trends, I feel that it's too much work, and if someone is able to like kind of like catch the wave it's always too late. When you're there, the
Yeah.
next things is starting. So yeah, I don't think that's the way to go.
I read that Lewis Black and Eddie Murphy were two of the people that you were paying attention to when you were doing comedy or when you started. I speaking of people that don't follow trends, yeah, obviously Eddie has not done stand up in a long time, but he and Lewis are both part of this old group of people it makes them sound like they're elderly, but they're part of this older group of comedy people that don't have to follow the trends, and they never did. They kind of set the pace, and I think that's very important when they can. As you're right, you either have to follow the trend, don't follow it, or if you're going, just try to stay within going outside your comfort zone in order to get on the path. And it's people like that who do comedy are just fascinating to me because Lewis, he's done the same type of stand up for decades, and it's still working. Even when you watch him on The Daily Show as a correspondent in a 5 minute chunk, he's doing a story and it's still working. And that just blows my mind.
I think that it's all about finding your voice. I mean, if you find your voice, some people are lucky enough to find their voice early in life, and some people take decades. But when you find your voice, it's like that's the key element of like an artist, probably. It's like, okay, this is my perception of the world. Here is encapsulated in this art form,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna just show it to you about different things that happen in my life or in the world, but like this is the lens. And finding the tune of who you are and what people want to hear, and just finding like that thing that match. It's it's a miracle. So when you get that voice, like a strong voice, you have to keep in that line, like even
Yeah.
the trend's gonna move around, but they're always gonna come back and circle to where you are. A full this whole like a bunch of stories of people who like for a decade no one paid attention to them, and then once again culture was ready for them again.
Yeah.
But if you're chasing where culture is, you're always gonna be like changing, and people are also gonna get confused about, well, like, okay, I like this guy because of this, and now he's like doing that,
Hmm.
and I, it's. I mean, it is like the marketing side of it, but like in a brand building, you have to like stay in your line. Like you're selling shoes, you know. You sell shoes, you sell shoes. You can sell other stuff in the meantime, but like, what is the core base of your business? Like you're selling these shoes, and if you go to the shoe store and one day they're selling, I don't know, pants, you're gonna be like, wait, I'm. This is my shoe store. So I think as a comic, you have to like also uh be consistent.
Hmm. Hmm. When did you, this is probably, you tell me if this is too intimate. When did you feel that you were starting to become a successful comic, someone who's an artist, who's making money from their craft and able to finally just break through?
I mean, I was very lucky because I started really young and I was able to make money in Chile very early in
Mm,
life. That's why I was able to move to the US, because I had the resources to, okay, I have some savings for like when I was starting and it was not making any money,
mhm,
I would kind of invest that money because I started in a TV show, in a cable show kind of like at 17, and then it moved to like a massive comedy show that lasted like 7 years when I was like 20.
mm,
So during that period of time, I was living by myself. I was able to save a lot of money, and I was making really good money. And I felt successful in a different way. I felt successful like in a very, I mean, young and fun, and I have money and I have resources to do whatever I want
yeah.
way. But then at some point when that finished, I felt like, okay, I need to find my next thing, and I feel like I started feeling really successful as a comic when I started performing outside of Chile, and I was
Mhm,
able to make things work. When I was starting going to Mexico, starting going to Australia, and it was like not just with my audience, with other people that never heard of me, and I was able to make them laugh. And of course, that elevate like the same process when I moved to the US, and I was in like a random city in the middle of the Midwest, and I was like, I can make these people laugh. I can connect with them. Have nothing to do. I'd never seen people from this place ever in my life. I'm from the other side of the planet,
yeah.
and I'm able to make them laugh. And that makes me feel really successful.
Wow. Was the transition, excuse me, was the move from Chile and Mexico and like just a different part of the world to America, was that easy for you? Was that something that you said, "Hey, this is the logical next step for you when you made that decision?"
On one side, it was hard because, I mean, anytime you move to another place, it's like a process of like first you're excited about the new place,
Hmm.
you start like missing the old place, you're starting feeling like this is not your place, and then you find your people and you kind of like, okay, start melting with the new scenario. But for me, I have to say, even like it was hard in terms of like I was doing spots, I mean, open mics again and doing like 2 minute spots for $5 for three people, and all their comics, they were not laughing at you and like just like
Hmm.
not even making eye contact. I live all that again. I I have to say that I really enjoyed that part. Even it was difficult, I really enjoy that because once again, I'm a comedy nerd. So
Hmm.
I was remembering reading about all these comics who went through that process. And I really felt part of that tradition in a way, this whole thing of like, oh, I have a spot here and then I have a spot. I was doing like what I was reading in the books when I was 20.
Right.
And I was living that life, the life of a comic, you know, and for me, even with all the struggle and maybe a lot of bad shows, not maybe, a lot of bad shows, I love it. I really enjoy it. And I'm still enjoying, and I have to like sometimes it's hard to me to to think about like, oh, wow, I put myself a goal really early in life. It was like being a comedian in the US or in New York and
Hmm.
going to the cellar and like, having spots here and there and going to this club to this other club in the same night. That's the life that I wanted and I have it.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that process.
That's an insane to love that part that's so hard. Oh my goodness, that is so crazy to me. Which I agree with because that you have to go through the hard part. It's I go to the gym a lot. I have to when I'm learning something new. I don't just give up on the first try of doing it. I will come back to it as often as I can in order to get better. When you want to do squats, you don't just stop because 135 pounds is hard. No, you try at a lower weight, then you keep going. But when's the last time you bombed, or do you remember any time that is so ingrained in your head that it'll make you never forget that?
I mean, I have a couple in Spanish that I remember very clearly. And in the US, I mean, like a bomb that it was like a painful bomb. Um, I'm sure I have a bunch, but let me think about like one specific one that comes to my mind. Uh, oh well, we did a show once in a backyard, and it was all cops. All the audience were cops, and it was also like in this peak moment of like we're tired of cancel culture. The
Mm,
way these people reacted to that was screaming very racist and horrible stuff to everyone on stage as a way of like, well, we're just having fun.
yeah.
And I mean, I always do this. I respond to them and try to like be quick and be like, but it was not fun. It was like, this is not a great show. Like, no one's enjoying this. It was like angry.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, that was a very bad one. And yeah, sometimes I just go to like tiny clubs outside of New York just to try new stuff, and it's painful. But
Hmm.
at least you're learning. You're like, okay, just with your notepad, being like, okay, you're learning.
Yeah.
Um, and in Chile, I have a bunch. Like I remember like a wedding, like someone invited me to do stand up at a wedding.
Wow.
Someone that I never met before, and it was a mess. Like the show was so bad, I didn't know what to do, and I started like making a toast. I was like, okay, I'm gonna change it to a toast, just to save my face. And I just was doing like the toast, and no one was responding to it. I was just by myself
Oh.
with a glass of champagne. So yeah, I mean, there's always gonna be bad shows. Like,
Mhm.
thank God now there's less bad shows, and some of these shows like people are like, "Oh, that was great." I'm like, not really,
Right.
you know. I know I can do better, but yeah, it's the process. So far, all good.
Yeah, well, Fabrizio, I'm telling you right now, you're doing wonderful work, and I'm excited that to have this special come out, not just for me, but for other people who can become new fans, just like I have. This has been fantastic. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but this has been a great conversation. You're very funny, and you're very smart, and I can't wait to see what else you can do.
Thanks, Chad. I really appreciate this conversation too, and hope we have another one and another one with more specials coming up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, same here. All right, you have a good rest of your day.
Take care, my friend. Have a
All
good
right,
one.
bye. Welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, the premier podcast website, peoplescomic.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Okay. There's a lot of confusion. This is the third time I'm doing this. I previously recorded that interview with Fabrizio. Let's see, like a couple of weeks ago, and then I thought I had two options of when to put it out. I had an option to put it out, at one point, and I said, let me wait for a wider release. So I waited for a wider release, which is this week. I put it out. However, I recorded that intro, and as you heard in the intro, I said, I don't know why I'm putting this out. Anyway, but then I restarted the second time. So this is my third time. So I restarted this is my third go at this. So going from that second time to the third time, I restarted because I didn't know. This is again a video show. Sometimes I didn't know how I was doing the audio thing, the theme song. Anyway, I guess there's no theme song in the video version. I don't know. We'll probably do some type of fade in bullshit. Welcome back. Here we are, 3:45. Enjoy the show. What happened this week? Well, Jesus, there's like nothing going on. That's why I didn't do an episode last week. I saw the movie Together, starring Allison Brie and her husband Dave Franco, and I just typed in Dave Franco instead of typing in the movie. I said the words Dave Franco, and my brain went type in Dave Franco. I enjoyed the movie. Rode my bike over to the movie theater as I usually do. And it was so fascinating to sit there. First of all, let me tell you, AMC started doing half price Wednesdays like they do on Tuesdays, which is great because oftentimes if you go see a big movie on a Tuesday and it's the summertime, there's too many people for me. But I went on Wednesday and it was great. I went on Wednesday and there was a sizable amount of people in the movie theater. And one guy walked in, I'll say it, at a time that I would walk in late, like maybe like 3 or 5 minutes into the movie. And he sat in my row and I was so pissed. I was like, you sit behind me. Yeah, and you sit behind me way off. But he sat in the second row in the middle seat. He looked like a nice guy. I'm not going to say anything. He kept to himself, which was great. But Together was very grotesque. People call it body horror. There were moments. I didn't know it was going to be a dark comedy, but there were moments where there were some jokes, and people laughed, and I went, wow, I didn't know this was going to be a funny movie. But there are some scary moments. I did jump at one point. There were moments where people were going, like in the audience, going, "Oh God." Oh. But I think it's an extremely fun movie that if you are a horror fan, you should watch. It is pretty scary. I will say that much. But the writer and director, who may or may not have written the movie, there's a plagiarism lawsuit. I don't believe it. We'll see. But the director did a good job. Writer-director did a good job. Michael Shanks, Allison Brie, and Dave Franco did a good job. That movie kept moving. And it's a great movie about relationships, which I did not expect. So go check it out. Next week I'll be seeing, hopefully, Naked Gun. I was going to say Top Gun. Naked Gun. If there is a showing on a Tuesday or a Wednesday that complies with my very open schedule. Oh, with my open schedule. Why? I wish they would put Naked Gun in the what's it called? The Dolby Theater, the Dolby Atmos Theater. I'd love that. Okay, there's an 11:30 showing on Tuesday. We'll see. If it was 8 o'clock, I'd be so excited. What else has been going on? Let's see. I've been playing some games. What am I playing right now? Nothing of import, I don't think. I have to make my. I said I'm not. I don't. You know. I don't have the money for a Switch 2, but when Pokemon comes out, I will have the money for a Switch 2. And so I have to. I'm not forcing myself, but I am putting more giddy up in my life to play. I think I've spoke about this. The Pokemon DLC for Sword and Shield and for Scarlet and Violet. I'm also playing the RoboCop Rogue City game. I have that on PlayStation. I wanted it on Xbox, and The day I started it on PlayStation, it was on Xbox Game Pass, and I am pissed. I didn't buy it on PlayStation. It was part of the PS Plus, but still. I'd rather play third-party games on Xbox and play first-party games on PlayStation because, quite frankly, I play my Xbox more. Oh, I'm done with Call of Duty World War II. No, I'm not. I'm not, because it wasn't running well. That's right. It was not running well on my Xbox, so I had to delete it. What else is going on? Not much, man. I will tell you that. I will tell you that. I think Together was all I had to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about. Okay. What else is going on? This comes from Netflix itself. They released their engagement report, the first half of 2025. People watched over 95 billion hours, which means jack shit. But now they at least they were doing releasing some sort of numbers. They started doing this a couple of years ago, and prior to that, they'd only talk about how many hours were watched, which is nothing. But this is their kind of Nielsen rating S thing because streaming platforms refuse to do Nielsen ratings. They say that nearly half of viewing for Netflix originals came from titles that debuted in 2023 or earlier, which means that people are either A, seeing shows like Ozark and Money Heist for the first time, or B, rewatching those things, which is very cool. Rewatching is also great. I love the idea of people rewatching things. Don't watch something once. See even if you like it, even if you dislike it, go back and see if I do that. I just recorded Late Night Lately. I talked about that with Adam Sandler movies. I've seen Blended once, didn't like it. Maybe I'll like it a second time. It did happen with what's the one he did with Jennifer Aniston? Not Murder Party. I love Murder Mystery, whatever it's called. I think those movies are so funny. Just Go With It. I saw Just Go With It once, and I was like, I did not like that movie. A couple months ago, I rewatched it. I'm laughing my butt off. Laughing my butt off. I'm less uptight about that comedy stuff now. Adolescence was the number one most watched show, and along with 145 million viewers. Missing You, Black Mirror, Department Q, they all did really well. More than 1/3 of all viewing came from non-English language titles, and 10 of the 25 most watched series in the first half of the year were non-English, which is great because we want to have more foreign movies and foreign shows be made for these giant platforms. Things like Squid Game, which drew in 231 million views across all 3 seasons in the first half of the year. That means people were like, hey, Squid Game, the final season is coming out in June or July, whenever it came out. Let's finally watch the show. Lots of shows from South Korea besides Squid Game, including The Trauma Code, Heroes on Call, Denmark, number 24, Norway, The Murders, Are Murders, Sweden, The Glass Dome, Colombia, Medusa. Like it's great that they're doing well with these foreign shows. Speaking of foreign, more than 2/3 of the Netflix members are outside the U.S. More than 1/3 of all viewing came from non-English. Well, I said that already. Sometimes I'm just talking. Audiences on Netflix enjoy a variety of shows, films, and live events, obviously. The first half of the year, 280 million viewed hours, were across all of these live events, including WWE Raw. There are a lot of anime fans watching Sakamoto Days and Naruto and classic movies like Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle. Oh, thank goodness, Running Point did well. Okay, Running Point had 41 million. The 4 seasons had 39 million. That's great. Both of those shows were renewed for second seasons. Comedy shows from Spain and Argentina also did well. A lot of kid and family shows, including Miss Rachel's Show. Wow, and K-pop Demon Hunters, which we all know that they love. In fact, they want to make a whole franchise out of K-pop Demon Hunters. I believe that they're mulling over 2 sequels as well as a live-action remake, which is insane. It seems that this Netflix company is doing pretty well. Oh my goodness. It's good that they're releasing these numbers. I wish they would release like kind of truer numbers, and also that they would. What is going on? Someone keeps trying to sign in to my Amazon account. Fuck off. I've already changed the password. But I want these things to continue to do well, and I want them to talk about this more, which is it's fascinating for a lot of people. All right, let's move on. And I hope Hulu and Netflix, Hulu and Peacock, and the rest follow through, because that would help their advertisers, or maybe it wouldn't. And finally, here's a story about what actual top podcasters make. Now this is from the New York Times, written by Jessica Testa, and it's a I think I'll say this. It is from Joe Budden, who used to be a rapper and now he's basically just like a talking head podcaster guy. There's one problem with this, in that with the idea of making money from podcasting, in that there are podcasters who have been around for a very long time who would eventually do well, like Mark Maron, like Never Not Funny, Jimmy Pardo and everybody at Never Not Funny. Those would eventually do well. But the idea that they were going to make money from that in the beginning was because they were the 2 of the first podcasts. It was crazy. They were like, okay, well, we can charge for this. In Never Not Funny's case, we can charge for this and then can make some money. And then eventually they started making some money. Then they started touring. And then people like Conan came in, and Serial, and everybody else. And now everybody thinks you can make money. This is not something. Again, the people that you hear about making money, like Joe Budden and Smartless and Conan O'Brien, that's new, and that's not something that is going to happen for every single person. Case in point, I've been doing this 12 years. So I just want to preface this story with that. So what Jessica Testa here is writing about, she's covering, the 1%, the Bernie, the 1%. During that interview, I interviewed another comedian, which will be coming out next week, and I did a Bernie Sanders impression. So again, we're talking about Joe Budden. He's earned, according to Patreon data, he's earned roughly, and this is all an accident, but roughly $900,000. He earns that per year on that. Is it? Yeah. That was just the month of June. Overall, the Joe Budden Network is on pace to generate more than $20 million this year, according to its chief executive, Ian Schwartzman. So now Joe Budden and his team are just talking about the numbers. They've earned an average about $1.4 million per month from Patreon alone, and it has about 70,000 paying subscribers. Subscriptions range from $5 to $50 per month, with higher tiers granted access to more episodes, including from spin-off shows. 2 weekly episodes of the flagship podcast are released free to the general public. This means its 2025 subscription revenue will probably exceed $12 million. Shows like Chapo Trap House, I believe that show, and other Patreon-based shows are the ones that are doing well. Again, it takes a lot to do that. The Joe Budden Network employs more than 30 independent contractors in roles such as production and administrative support. Payment of these contractors and on-air talent is the company's biggest expense. For example, more than $1.5 million annually goes to the co-host of the Joe Budden podcast. I don't listen to the show, so I'm reading through these names, and I don't. I'm okay. Do I know this guy? I don't know who this guy is. Other costs include production fees, marketing expenses, and real estate. The company is in the process of purchasing, for roughly $2 million, the waterfront condominium unit in Edgewater, New Jersey, where it records audio and video for the Joe Budden podcast. It currently rents the unit, and residents in the building have complained about sharing space with the operation, which I would do the same. Where I live in Atlanta, I think like a year or two. It had to be 2 years, 2 or 3 years after I moved in. There was a 90-day fiance stint being shot in the building, and it was quite frustrating sometimes. I remember one time I was riding my bike down the street, and I passed by them. I saw the couple. I cannot pull the couple for you, but I saw the couple. And I just thought, and they were waiting. I think they were doing reshoots for something, but they were like waiting for the camera. The camera's like waiting, and I just saw like they were just like holding for something, and I'm just like standing there, and I was riding my bike, and I was just like, this is insane. When Joe's show was at Complex, he was given a what he calls an allowance, $500 a week. Then they moved the show pretty loudly too, because I don't listen to the show, but I definitely remember the split between Complex and Budden. And he decided to take it independent. He was going to get a new podcast partner, and it was going to be paid $44 million over 2 years, but that it would require them to remove the show from YouTube, and he said no. I wanted that kind of autonomy. It's fascinating to see how people like Joe Budden, and then also to see people on Substack even make money. Substack is this year announced a $20 million fund to help entice creators away from Patreon and other rivals. Maybe I'll apply for that. These platforms also benefit from taking a roughly 10% cut of the creators' earnings. Podcasters on Patreon earned more than $472 million collectively in 2024, up from 35% in 2023. It's, people, this is where things are going. People are going to just do subscriptions, unfortunately, and this is why I'm such a big proponent of buying movies and TV shows, and maybe eventually I get back to buying music, but I need somewhere to store that shit. If I start buying stuff on Cubuzz or the other ones, it's important for people to make money, but also give listeners a sense of ownership when it comes to this show. And it's good to hear that, Joe gives everybody, free episodes, but at some point people are going to hit some sort of wall when it comes to paying for things, and there's going to be a drop off. But I don't see that happening with a show like Joe Budden show or Dak Shepard show or Smartless or Conan's, or they'll find it in the smaller ones. But even still, these niche things can last. Never Not Funny's doing well. Doughboys are doing well. What's the other show I pay for? Big Grande, that sketch group. You pay for their stuff a la carte, and I'm happy to support those three shows. But I can't see myself, going for anything else, because that's already, $17 per month for Doughboys and Never Not Funny. And anyway. All right, we're done here. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. If you want to watch a video version of the interview with Fabrizio, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy. It's under the interviews. You can also check out the other podcasts on there, the video versions of the podcast, LinkedIn Logs and Late Night Lately. LinkedIn Logs is the jobs podcast, and Late Night Lately is the late night show. So go ahead and check those out over there. YouTube.com/cpluscomedy. You can see everything, pretty much everything I've done. If you want to follow us on social media, go to Blue Sky, go to TikTok, go to Instagram at @cpluscomedy, me at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening, and go see a movie. Go see a movie. Support movie theaters. We love movie theaters in this house. All right, that's the end of the show. I was just talking to get to this point. I'll see you later. Bye.